I'm Dr. Motsoaledi. Anyone can contract tuberculosis. The only way to avoid contracting tuberculosis is to stop breathing. It is one of the oldest diseases known to human beings. Globally, TB has killed more people than smallpox, malaria, bubonic plague, influenza, HIV and AIDS, and Ebola, all added together. Of all infectious diseases, TB is #1 killer, as it is the case in many parts of the developing world. So serious is the threat of TB that the United Nations is convening in September a high-level meeting of all heads of state to talk about TB. However, the good news is that TB is curable. It is definitely not a death sentence, and everyone can play a role to eliminate the scourge of TB. Eliminating TB requires a strong and bold leadership at all levels of society. High visibility is exactly what we need to confront and eradicate TB, as the world has decided to do so by 2030, if not sooner. This tremendous, unselfish gesture should encourage others to support those that have TB and show that anyone can contract TB, and equally importantly, with treatment, TB is curable. Anyone with symptoms must go to our clinics for a checkup and treatment. Remember to take your medication every day for the period indicated by health professionals in order to get cured of TB. I'm not only here to lead South Africans, but to participate as the global chairperson of the Stop TB Partnership. I'm presently the sitting chairperson of Stop TB Partnership. And remember, it is the Stop TB Partnership that requested this high-level meeting on TB, because we deal with TB issues around the globe, and TB is now #1 killer of all infectious diseases. And it was the only disease that was never given attention by a high-level meeting of heads of states. You are aware that HIV/AIDS has been here to United Nations. Ebola has been here to United Nations. Non-communicable diseases have been here. This is going to be the third time. Antimicrobial resistance has been here in 2016. So it was during the debate on antimicrobial resistance where I was participating as the chairperson of Stop Partnership, and I asked a question: how do we defeat antimicrobial resistance when one third of it is because of drug-resistant TB? So if we don't tackle TB, we won't win the battle against antimicrobial resistance, which the world is, by the way, scared of. So the United Nations agreed. They scheduled a debate, a high-level meeting on TB, and here we are. So it's a dream come true for us in the Stop TB Partnership.
Over the last 200 years, TB has killed more people than influenza, malaria, yellow fever, and HIV/AIDS combined. It still kills tens of thousands annually. No new drug or testing method was developed for over 50 years, and new developments emerged only recently. The health minister says the lack of urgency is baffling.
Every head of state must talk of TB, regardless of whether it appears in their prepared written text or not. Every time they address people, they must think about the issue of TB and just add it in their speeches. And I'll ask ministers of religion in their sermons, whether it's in their prepared sermons or not, they must keep on reminding people of this killer disease. The Global TB Caucus is a movement of members of parliament from all over the globe who are coming together to sign a pledge that they will help fight TB around the world by encouraging their governments and their parliaments and international leaders and donors to make sure that we come together to fight the scourge of TB so that we can bring it to a speedy end. What we're discussing is what exactly are we going to do as members of parliament. Firstly, we have signed the pledge. And there are lots of things that the pledge is saying, but one of the central issues is we have to make sure that every person on this planet who suffers from TB has got access to diagnosis and treatment. And that action of diagnosis and treatment must not disadvantage them financially, must not leave them financially collapsed, because that's what happens most of the time. I wrote to the Speaker of Parliament. He gave me a chance to address Parliament for no less than 20 minutes to explain this issue. And members of Parliament from all political parties were given a chance to debate the issue. Then I was given a chance to address the second House of Parliament, also for about 20 minutes, and also the second House debated this issue. So members of Parliament in South Africa, all 490 of them have actually signed this pledge. In the State of the Nation address, when Parliament opened this year, the President mentioned that we have done a lot to fight HIV and AIDS. Now we want to give our attention to TB. Then after that speech, a month later, on the 24th of March, World TB Day, the Deputy President of South Africa launched the biggest ever screening campaign for TB. We looked at the most vulnerable people for TB. We found that they are in correctional services. The second group are people working in the mines, especially gold mines. The last group are people staying in what we call peri-mining communities. That means people who stay in areas of intense mining activity, where there's intense mining activity. And we said all of this must be screened. TB is our responsibility. But with TB, none of us can say so. Nobody can stand up and say, I'll never get TB, because we are all vulnerable.